constituents. Many Democrats did not vote for things that Obama wanted, but every friggin' Republican voted the way McConnell and Boehner said to vote.
Not at all. The Tea Party votes different ways. What do you? They always block things.
The Tea Party voted
block things.
No, the Tea Party voted in lockstep with the Republicans because you had a Democratic president. It's only now that the Tea Party, which has become the American Freedom Party, okay, that they're at odds with the supposed rank and file of the Republican Party because they feel that the Republican rank and file are too moderate and giving up too much.
That's what they've always felt. That's why they were formed, the Tea Party. Right?
Well, then you might as well get used to the fact that until the day you die, nothing will ever be done on a bipartisan basis in this country. I think everybody should read John Kasich's book because he points out both sides. And there's a lot of things I don't like about Kasich, other than the fact that he's a conservative. But when he speaks about certain things for the country, he makes a lot of sense. I may not agree with his social domestic programs, but certainly when it comes to healthcare, when it comes to foreign policy and doing things as a nation, the man makes a lot of sense to me.
I'm not saying he doesn't. We're talking about apples and oranges.
How is that apples and oranges? We're talking about politics here, Felix.
Kasich is not in office now.
He's a governor, so what?
We're talking about the failures of the president.
Yeah, well, do you know that Kasich turned down the vice presidency? Donald Jr. called him up. This is before his father was sworn in, before he even picked a vice president. And he said, my father said you could have carte blanche on anything to do with the country. Okay, he'll give you his approval. Kasich said, what's your father going to do? And Donald Jr. said he's going to make America great again. That's what he said. You do all the hard work. My dad will take all the credit.
I want to hear that conversation.
Oh, okay.
I do.
Well, I don't know where it is, but I remember I heard it.
Mark, we hear 100 things. 99% of them are wrong. Remember that.
No, this came right out of Kasich's mouth. Don't tell me this is not true.
You heard Kasich say?
Yes, I did. Oh. On the news programs. 2, 4, 7, CNN, MSNBC. I wasn't dabbling in Fox at the time. Although, look, even Fox reported about that Ben Jacobs, who was slammed to the floor by Giancarlo, in Montana. If it wasn't for the Fox reporter backing up what Ben Jacobs said, nobody would believe him either. And what happens? The Republicans in the Congress say, well, I have to see further reports. Or they say, well, from what I understand, the guy was rude. Is that any reason to body slam a guy to the floor? And Trump says, good job, good job.
Well, I didn't hear Trump say good job.
Oh, of course you didn't. Because you were sleeping during the news tonight.
And I also heard that guy apologize. Was it a mistake?
He apologized the day after when he had already won. He didn't apologize the night before after he had done it.
We don't know what he did after he done it, but
I'm telling you what I saw on the news.
He probably apologized. I know he didn't apologize to the next day. I know he did it.
Paul Ryan didn't say anything. He says, we'll welcome him into the Congress. He didn't. He did say last night he should apologize. That's all he said. And the guy won, so he apologized. Why shouldn't he? He can be magnanimous in victory.
Well, okay.
But what's Paul Ryan going to do? Is he going to give him a great seat in one of the committees, or is he going to bury him someplace in some committee that no one ever hears about?
Do you know what happened? Why he body slammed him?
Because he was in the middle of an interview, okay, The guy was rude, I'll grant you that, but in order to get things done, many reporters have to be rude. And he had his recorder, and he pushed it up to his face, and he could have said, he did say leave. He could have had the people who were around him handle the situation, but he grabbed them by the neck and slammed them to the floor. If I did that in school...
It's wrong. What do you want me to tell you?
If I did that in school, they wouldn't even give me a hearing. They'd throw me the hell out of the school.
They'd
wrong.
Bring me what up do you on want charges. Me to do? He's being charged.
I want to show you that you look at these things with blinders on.
Why?
Felix.
I know he did it. He's being charged for it. He's being charged before he goes into office.
And he'll wind up paying a fee, a penalty. He'll be on suspension.
They have it as a misdemeanor. I don't think he's going to get
suspended sentence.
You think misdemeanor is going to give him jail time? Come on. The newspaper.
How many people in the heat of an argument on a Friday night or a Saturday night get physical with somebody and the person hits their head and dies, and the person who they were getting angry at, who pushed them to the floor, is charged with manslaughter because the person died? Or if they slam them to the floor just the way the congressman did, all right, they get a slap on the wrist. If it happened to you or me, we'd be facing prison time, Felix.
I'm not sure about that. I don't know.
I tell you what.
I don't know what would happen. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're right.
Why
can't you admit that you don't know that for sure? Neither do I.
I know that people in power are treated differently than the ordinary citizen. That much I know. Okay?
Okay.
I know that you don't even have to be rich. If you have money and you're accused of a crime, all right, you
don't have to be rich, but if you have money. If you have money, you're rich.
No, if you have some money and you can afford an attorney, all right, you get a suspended sentence. If you don't, you wind up spending a couple of years in jail.
Not for that. That you will not spend a couple of years. The guy's not pressing charges.
Well, you don't know what I'm not talking about that now. I'm talking about a certain friend that your son and my son had, who had no business going away to jail for 2 years, but he had a public defender. He had no money. Okay. Parents had already dropped the charges, but the assistant district attorney refused to do it. And he went away for 2 years. And you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, so what did he do?
It has nothing to do with what he did. It was consensual. The girl said yes.
And how old was she?
She was 16 or
14.
15.
14.
She said yes. He didn't know how old she was. He thought she was 18. The same thing happened to... Taylor, the linebacker for the Giants, okay? He was caught in a motel room with a 16-year-old girl, and he said he thought she was 18, okay?
I'm not disagreeing with you that the system is corrupt. It's corrupt in the Democratic courts and the Republican courts. If you don't have money, you've got a poor chance of getting good.
And as a congressman now, this guy is going to have connections. Look, he ran for governor and he didn't make it. But the bottom line is, I'm sure he has connections, and he will just probably have to do community service for a certain number of hours. Anger management. Take anger management classes.
Well, they're going to look at everything. Did anybody get hurt? Did the guy actually press any charges? That's all going to...
Well, Ben Jacobs hasn't said anything about pressing charges. He did say that he broke my glasses, and he wound up being examined in the emergency room.
And he was okay. Which is very important.
I'm sure he is okay.
No, it's important. We don't want to see anybody get hurt. We don't want to see anybody being body slammed.
But you got to understand.
And
that,
if it was a Democrat,
listen,
if a Democrat did it, and he would still get out of it too, just like a Republican.
You don't seem to understand that all this is behavior taken on ever since Trump ran for president, became president, talks about the fake news, all right, points a finger at Jim Acosta from CNN in the early days of his presidency and says, I will not take a question from you. I don't recognize you because you're fake news. Why? He didn't agree with what the reporter had to say. I got news for you. You better develop a thick skin because when you're in the public eye, nothing is private when you're in the public eye.
Okay.
I'm just sorry that, certain people are going to be thrown under the bus by this president just to keep his nose clean. And speaking of being spiteful, they were just in the Vatican, weren't they? They saw the Pope. They saw the Pope.
Yeah.
Ivanka and Jared shook hands with the Pope.
Okay.
Okay, they're Jewish, right?
Okay.
Sean Spicer is a devout Catholic.
Okay.
He wasn't allowed to even say hello to the religious leader on earth of his religion. He wasn't allowed to have a meeting with the Pope and shake his hand.
Who do you think makes that decision? The Pope?
Trump. What do you mean the Pope? The Pope gives them a certain number of how many people he can see. Why is it that Jared and Ivanka, who are not Catholic, now it's an honor to meet the Pope. You don't have to be Catholic to say it's an honor. But you don't think that Sean Spicer would have been thrilled or tickled pink
was he
to
there?
Shake hands? Yes, he was there.
I can't tell you.
Yeah, right.
I can't tell you. You get upset about the stupidest things in the world.
I do, huh?
Yeah, that is stupid. Who cares?
I'm only pointing out the kind of personality and character this president has that you want me to show respect for.
I don't care if you show respect for him or not.
You won't get any from me.
That's fine.
Hey, look.
By the
we
way,
spent a lot of time on jokes with George W. Bush. But George W. Bush was a nice person. All right? Might not have been too bright. Forget about the fact that he went to Yale. All right? When you make a donation, donations go very far.
First thing, you don't know if he was bright or not.
He himself said, it shows you what you can aspire to when you're a C student. He readily admitted he was a C student. So how did he get into Yale Business School?
How did he do in Yale Business School?
I have no idea.
Okay.
He had to do well enough to get a degree.
Yeah, so he couldn't have been that stupid.
Yeah, well,
we have somebody who wants to call, but they asked that we stop yelling so they can call.
Why? I thought our audience likes when we argue.
Yeah,
well, let the person call, and if they get through, they get through. If they don't get through, they don't get through. That's all.
Well, they feel that it's hard to break our argument up if they called. Well,
they're probably right. I'm not forgetting. You know, I'm a Democrat. I'm like an elephant. I never forget.
Okay, elephant.
You can be like the Republicans. You could be an ass.
That's the problem with politicians. Not politicians, people who follow politics. They get too emotional.
Well, when you get the other side of the coin, espousing the fact that he's done nothing wrong, you know, and I say, show me what he's done that's right.
Show me what he's done that's wrong.
The only thing that has gone up.
Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on.
Well, I'm just saying, let me finish my thought. The only thing that has gone up in this during this administration is the stock market. and he can't take
And
all.
jobs went up.
He can't.
Job market went up.